Hiya, Barbie.
Hi, Ken.
You want to go do a podcast?
Sure.
Jump in.
Ladies and gentlemen, Barbies and Kens, Kellys of all ages, and everyone else, welcome to Binging Barbie, a Barbie movie podcast. I'm your host, Jay, and with me I have my wonderful co-host. He was turned into a Pegasus by an evil wizard, but he got better. John.
Boo-hoo.
For those of you just joining us, we are a podcast about Barbie movies. Every week we watch one of the straight-to-DVD Barbie animated movies, and we rate its story, its characters, its animation, its voice acting, and its music to see how it stacks up. This week we will be talking about the fifth animated Barbie movie, Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus. To help us with that, we have a guest. She's a friend of mine and a big fan of the movie, Rachel.
Hey.
Just to start out, what is your Barbie history? Did you watch any of the movies growing up? Did you have any of the dolls?
Did you earn a degree?
Did I get a degree?
In Barbie?
Unfortunately, no. I was not accepted to the Barbie college. Yeah, I don't know what happened there. But, no, I had quite a few dolls, I think.
Yeah.
Because, girl equals likes dolls.
Yeah.
Oh.
And
Gotta write that
Barbies
down.
are pretty. And that should have been a sign for other things, that Barbies are pretty.
Well, yeah, shall we dive into things here? Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus, it was released September 18th, 2005. 2005 was the first year in which two Barbie movies were released in the same year. This is following Barbie Fairytopia, which we discussed last week. Mm-hmm. And this movie is the first Barbie movie to include 3D.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and this is around the start of the 3D craze of the 2000s. New technologies were allowing for 3D to be produced a bit cheaper, and there was a lot of competition from DVDs and TV for movie theaters, so they were looking for something to bring audiences in. Now, Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus wasn't a theatrical release, but it still had these 15 minutes of 3D.
And they were amazing.
Yes. And they are anaglyph 3D, so that's the red and blue glasses kind, where two images are displayed simultaneously in different colors. There are a few issues with it. Mainly the coloring is off whenever you're wearing the glasses. There's also a little bit of ghosting. And shortly after this movie came out was the explosion of polarized 3D, which is, if you've ever been to a movie theater and seen a movie in 3D, it's the sunglass looking things that you have to put on. And that's a little bit higher fidelity, but is very difficult to get at home. So that's why most DVDs that have 3D with them will have the red and blue 3D. And, like I said, it's just 15 minutes of the movie, but it's a big part of the marketing. It was directed by Greg Richardson, who has been part of the Barbie team for a while. He was an editor on Rapunzel, Swan Lake, and Princess and the Pauper. But this is his directorial debut. Wow. And after this, he directed two other Barbie movies, and then moved on to other franchises, including Max Steel. He did quite a few of those movies. And once again, this movie is written by Alana Lesser and Cliff Ruby. They're the writing duo that has been writing a lot of these Barbie movies. And I think you could tell that they've kind of found their groove with this one.
And it relies a lot of the same writers were.
Yeah, they do a lot of the same team comes back.
Interesting.
And it gives these movies a bit of a consistency.
Maybe that's why the old ones are so good.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and our music this time around is once again by Arnie Roth. He didn't do the music for Fairytopia, but he's back here.
Yeah.
And it was recorded by the Czech Philharmonic Orchestra. So a lot of returning people for this movie. And I think you can tell the quality is increasing at sort of a linear level with these other Barbie movies. Fairytopia being excluded, which actually had a different production team, and that one you could kind of tell they're still trying to figure things out.
Right.
I mean, the second one is much better, so...
Yeah, that's next week we're doing
Hey.
Navia.
That was another favorite.
Not Bibble.
Yeah, that's right. He's coming back.
Yep, more Bibble.
All right.
Yeah, so Barbie and the Magic of Pegasus is the second original Barbie movie, so that means it wasn't based on any previously existing work.
What was the first?
The first is actually Fairytopia,
Oh,
so the one
of course,
right
yeah,
before
yeah.
this. But this does have elements of other stories. There's a bit of Sleeping Beauty with the whole the girl grows up not realizing why her parents are overprotective, but then on her birthday she realizes. And then in this one, it's reversed where everyone else gets, well, frozen, and she has to save them. And then there's also elements of the Odyssey and Aladdin kind of sprinkled throughout that we'll talk about later. But yeah, this movie we follow Princess Annika, who loves ice skating, but her overprotective parents are they want to keep a close eye on her. Yeah. They aren't letting her live her life.
They just don't understand.
Yeah, she has a line about that. You're ruining my life.
Which I don't honestly, from her perspective, like,
yes,
it's not a great look.
Yeah, especially early on.
Yeah.
Because she doesn't realize the reason they're overprotective is that the night of her birthday, this evil wizard shows up and freezes the entire kingdom and threatens that if Princess Annika doesn't marry him in 3 days, then they will be frozen forever. But right before anything bad can happen to Annika, a Pegasus swoops down from the sky and takes her up into the clouds where there's this castle, and turns out that the Pegasus is her sister, who was turned into a Pegasus by the evil wizard Wenlock, who has a history of marrying people and then turning them into creatures.
Polygamy!
Yeah!
Yep. So now Princess Annika has to team up with a few other people to create this wand of light that will help her defeat Wenlock. And that's the adventure. Along the way, she meets a polar bear cub named Shiver, and Aiden, the roguish, handsome bad boy of the movie. And yeah, they go on this magical adventure.
He wasn't as cute as I remembered him being.
Yeah, the movie goes through a lot to try and make him. There's quite a few comments about his looks throughout the movie.
No, I know.
But yeah, the animation is maybe a little bit. He has that bad boy vibe going on.
Right,
though.
he does.
He's got that dark color scheme.
Oh, yeah. We like that. We like that edgy boy.
Yep. So yeah, the story this time around, I mean, it's just so good. It kind of throws you in, no explanation. There isn't even any opening narration.
Right.
Forget a scene where Barbie explains to her sister what the message of the movie is. There's none of that. We just dive right in. But the story is simple enough and the world is easy enough to understand that you don't really need narration. And as things show up, they get explained adequately. That was one of our complaints about Fairytopia, is that the world wasn't properly explained. There were elements that were brought in without much explanation. But here they do a good job of it.
Pegasi seem to be a norm in this world. No one seems to question that they exist. Or why one is talking.
I guess if anything, I was slightly confused about Cloud Kingdom, how that was just like accepted right away. That's like, yes, there's just this castle in the clouds. And I'm like, I want more on the lore of this place. Like, this place is super cool. Let's get a bit more on that, please.
Yeah, it's almost mythological with this, like, cloud goddess with her kids who paint the sky for sunrise and sunset.
And I did really like that. That. That was great.
They're the children from the other movies, the same models being used again.
Yeah, they're the Kellys.
Yep.
No, they're the Kellys. Yeah. They're modeled after her sister.
One of them is. I think they're all modeled after. Maybe they're all triplets.
I mean, they do use that triplet model quite a bit.
Oh yeah.
from what I remember. Because they use those triplets in 12 Dancing Princesses, if I remember right.
Yep.
Because, you know, you gotta come up with 12 character designs.
Why not
Really
just
now?
recycle a few? Yep, that's gonna be in a few weeks. We'll talk about all of those 12 princesses. Maybe we'll have to rank their character models. That might be a bit. That might be a bit.
Objectifying women.
Yeah, good point. Maybe we won't.
I know what's wrong with you. It's easy for me.
Wenlock, how did you get in here?
Yeah, except maybe we should only do 8
Yes.
of the 12. I don't know. The 3 youngest are like 5. Just saying.
Yeah.
That's why we have beauty pageants.
Oh no.
I mean...
Yeah, let's get back to Magic of Pegasus before we go too far here.
Sorry for you younger listeners who don't understand the context of this situation. But we will continue.
Yes.
Please do not mind us.
My favorite thing about this story is just how clear the objectives are from moment to moment, especially once they introduce this idea of there's this wand that we have to build, and so we have to find these 3 objects. And it's just a great excuse to have this adventure with like self-contained little scenes, but it still feels like you're moving forward, especially since they have this 3-day time limit that they're constantly reminding you of. It keeps the narrative moving forward. And in that same sense, like every element that is introduced in the story builds to something. So like the 3 little girls who paint the sunset, at first you think, oh, it's just like a cute little detail of this world, but then they play an important role in the climax. They paint the sunset slower so that Annika gets more time. And even Wenlock's 3 wives who have been turned into trolls, they come back and they play a very important role in this climax. And it's just like every little detail is there for more than one thing. That's such good narrative economy, especially after Fairytopia, where there's a lot of elements that don't really lead to anything. And obviously they're setting up a franchise. But it's a breath of fresh air to get to this movie, and everything is building, everything pays off in the end.
It's beautiful.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
And we have character arcs in this movie.
Yeah.
We do?
Yeah, I mean, some.
Yeah.
Aiden does.
Aiden has the biggest character arc. I think Annika has a little bit of a character arc, but
a little.
Aiden's the one who gets...
Yes.
He gets the Penelope treatment this time around. He's the
Penelope treatment?
Oh, from Rapunzel.
Yeah.
Where Penelope, the dragon, gets the biggest character arc in the movie, even though she's a supporting character.
Okay. I haven't seen that one in a while. I don't remember much. Okay.
Yeah. We saw it a few weeks ago, so...
What's the Pegasus name again?
The Pegasus is Brietta?
Mm-hmm, Brietta.
She has an arc in terms of hope.
Yeah. Where she's kind of given up a little bit.
Yeah.
And then Annika comes in and is like, let's do this. I do feel kind of bad for Brietta that, like, she's been trying this for years, and then Annika shows up and is like, let's just get it done in like 2 seconds.
Well, to be fair, she is a horse.
Yes.
She's a Pegasus, excuse you.
Under the same species. Pegasus is a subsection in which, they're all horses.
Yeah.
I mean, sure.
Don't have opposable thumbs, so makes it maybe a bit difficult to pick up a measure of courage.
That's fair. Also, I don't know, I guess this is slightly off topic, but I get so confused. So is Brietta's like 30-something?
Yeah.
She looks the same as Annika, her 16, 17-year-old sister?
The parents look the same.
Yeah. I got very confused there with the aging and like, wait, hold up. So your teenage, almost adult daughter was kidnapped. Mm-hmm. Then you had a baby right after that? Like, replacement daughter?
Right, yeah.
Second chances, almost like that's a theme or something.
Oh. So sounds like
Sorry.
Your literature degree is going to come in handy with this one.
Maybe. Yeah. Aiden's trigger word.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, I mean, Aiden has the biggest arc here. He's the one who, at the start, he's sort of this roguish bad boy. He's edgy, very Han Solo type. But then as the movie goes along, you realize, oh, he has this backstory that he gambled away all of his parents' money, which is very surprising to see in a Barbie movie.
Yeah,
Um,
a bit.
but he's like he's ashamed to go home, so he's trying to like look for some kind of redemption
Mm-hmm.
to go back to his parents and be able to face them again, and that's maybe why he's a bit prickly at first, is that he's looking for something. And I think that's actually why the romance in this works. This is
Right.
Yeah, I'm always a little split on the romance, but because I don't like him in the beginning, he's like absolutely an that's just like, oh my god, Aniko, why? But he does like once he changes, he is a much nicer person to be around. That it's like, yeah, okay.
I just like that they don't immediately fall in love as soon as they
Oh,
see each
same.
other.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Like after 5 films, it's like, oh my gosh, they don't love each other?
Right.
That's amazing.
No, I love their banter. That like they're both just so sassy, just keep sassing each other back and forth.
Yeah, and
It's
they're
so funny.
they're equally matched in that way, where
Yeah.
they aren't intimidated by each other,
Mm-hmm.
and so it just leads to this more interesting romance where you get to see both of them kind of soften towards each other, and then through the course of this movie, then they fall in love, and it works very naturally, where some of the other Barbie romances feel a little bit forced.
Right. No, I think the pacing of this really helps and makes it more believable.
Yeah.
Even though it's 3 days, but still, it is much more believable
Yeah.
than any sort of like insta love plot or
Yeah.
whatever.
They don't even kiss.
They don't.
They don't even declare love to each other.
They ice skate though, and that was pretty intimate. I don't know.
Yeah, very very romantic.
It
He,
was.
he introduced her to his father.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's a big move.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this is also surprisingly dark for a Barbie movie.
Huh?
Like,
yeah.
there were some intense moments, I think especially watching
yeah.
it in 3D, but the Ollie the Giant scene, I was like, whoa, they're going, like, he's getting ready to cook her and eat her, and they aren't playing coy with that.
Oh, interesting.
And then, especially the scene where Wenlock is in the jeweler's shop, and
Yeah.
he uses his magic. I thought for a moment that he had actually killed this jeweler. And I was just like so surprised. And obviously, this is a Barbie movie, you can't quite do that. But the fact that I even thought, oh, are they going there? Like, it speaks to this being like a more intense Barbie movie.
Right. And Annika was just ready to kill Wenlock as soon as she had the chance.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's
absolutely.
like, Juan, destroy Wenlock.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say, I feel like some of the Barbie movies are okay with going to a bit of like a dark
Yeah.
side. It's not like it's out of nowhere. But there are definitely some moments where it's very interesting. Like, shoot, especially the one you were talking about, the jewelry shop. Like that one is, I don't know
Yeah.
why that one specifically.
Yeah, especially watching these all like one after another. Anything that stands out you kind of notice, but especially with this one, it's like they're going for a little bit of an older audience here, and they're not being nearly as held back as
No.
some of these. Like Fairytopia, maybe there's a little bit of darkness, but it isn't anything to write home about.
Darkness?
Whereas here, it's there's like a tiny bit, but in that one
With
there isn't.
Bibble?
Well, Bibble is a very dark character.
I don't know what you're talking about.
What? He's Makuta.
What?
He played a villain in a Bionicle movie that has a very different voice than Bibble.
Okay. You mean he doesn't talk like this?
No, he does not. What this all means is that this movie builds to a really great third act, where you have all of these elements coming together. You have this sort of darker tone, which gives it a little bit more tension. I will say the one thing is that maybe Brietta should have been allowed to do something more in the climax than stand off to the side and hold the horses, but
Yeah.
besides that, it's just like it builds so excellently to this point. And you can tell that the writing team behind this, they've done a few of these Barbie movies and they understand how to make this compelling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I do appreciate the wives' revenge on him, though.
Yes.
Like, that was very satisfying. At first, I was like, wait, why aren't you guys, like, running away from this dude? And then it's like, oh, okay, I see.
They still have their rings.
Yeah, it's like, we're still married. We're just gonna, like, be in charge now.
Yeah.
We're gonna take all your money.
Money.
Yeah,
Well,
he had a lot of money
That's
in his...
true. Yeah, he did. That's right.
Although the whole thing sank into the sea, so maybe...
You're right. So it's like, after the spell broke, did he really have much?
Well, he's got
Yeah.
savings, I assume.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That was just his pocket money that sank.
Yeah. Yeah, he might have some stocks or investments out there.
Maybe bets on Pegasus races.
Yeah, he did lose his griffin, though. That was very sad.
Yep.
The poor griffin.
Turned into a cat.
Yeah. Also interesting how, like, they use a different winged creature for the villain than the Pegasus. Like, almost as if, like, the griffin's meant to be, like, some sort of, like, foilish kind of figure for Pegasus.
Yeah, sort of a contrast. Even the visual design, like, the darker colors.
Yeah. I mean, that's a very common thing for, like, good versus evils. The evil has all the dark colors.
Yeah.
And...
Except for Aiden.
Except for Aiden. Well, but he's an edgy bad boy, so he's
he's
allowed to have the color scheme. He's just...
Yep. So yeah, I gave the story a 4.5 out of 5. I just think it's so excellent how everything comes together.
I give it a 3.5. Yeah, no, I think it's good. Like Barbie, Annika actually saves the day by the end of the film. Instead of just being someone else or it happens by accident, she intentionally saves the day in this one, which is great. I think that maybe a little bit more could have been done in how the world responds to the Pegasus. Like, a casual conversations like, I saw a flock of Pegasi flying in the sky. Oh, the little fairies are doing the little thing. And that just, when they show up, you're not surprised. Or, oh, you're a talking Pegasus. Oh, you're special. Or something like that. Minor details that are not that important, but who the heck is this queen? What is she here for?
Right, the Cloud Queen? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I was also confused too, like, don't get me wrong, she's super cool, but what exactly is going on here?
I say details, schmeetails. Well, not always, but I was very invested in the plot. But I could definitely see how there's maybe some world building that could have been done.
Mm-hmm. I give it a 5. I will agree there are some, like, small world building, detail-y kind of things, but the plot itself, I think, is very tight. And there's... almost everything pretty much comes back and becomes important at some point. Yeah, like you were talking about with the girls, where they're making their sunset, and Shiver liking all of her sparkles. Like,
oh, Shiver.
Yeah, that we can get into her.
She does bring the story down a bit as well.
She does, but she is also sort of a plot device a little bit.
Not in a good way. Not
in a good way, but her was like necessary for like getting some plot lines going, like meeting the giant. Maybe just that one.
Well, yeah, on that note, we could actually jump into the characters right now. I didn't mind Shiver all that much. I thought she was a little cute. But, yeah, she's a little bit...
Shiver. Oh, yes, the logic with Shiver. That's a baby polar bear.
Mm-hmm.
That mother is furious. It is also very irresponsible of Annika to take a child.
Yeah.
Without first questioning, oh, where's your mother, little one? It's like, oh, look, baby polar bear. It's
Yeah.
mine now.
Think of the germs.
Think of the rage.
But also, why is the baby polar bear horny for Aiden?
Because Mattel and Barbie's all for that bestiality.
Oh my god.
And we got polygamy here as well. You know, this is a great film
Yeah.
for all this different
Yeah,
range.
no wonder this one's so good. Barbie was just like, let's just throw everything out there.
Yes.
Children's movie, audience
Bringing
for
all
everyone. Bringing all the sin.
Yeah, it is an interesting thing. They do take it. You know, this is clearly meant for like a slightly older audience.
Mm-hmm.
Though,
Sure.
so some of the choices are maybe you're skewing a little bit too old with that particular choice.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's creepy. I did not like that. I did remember that though from when I watched like a year ago. That's just like,
Yeah, it raises more questions.
It does.
Than you want it to raise.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
as far as like animal companions go, I do think she's one of the better ones. Even though she does get
Yeah.
on my nerve.
She's also a kleptomaniac. 'Cause
Yep.
She just steals
Well,
all that shiny.
yep.
Yep.
And that's where she gets on my nerves. Where
Mm.
she messes up stuff for other people.
Yeah.
That's no, I have in my notes a couple times. I just have lines like where she just messes everything up.
Yeah, Barbie might have been better off not bringing her on this
Mhm.
quest. But you gotta have the plush for the kids.
Exactly.
So are they like in Russia or where are they?
Maybe?
Possibly. I'm not sure if it's clear at all.
Are there polar bears in Russia?
Oh, yeah.
Maybe.
Okay.
Northern Russia.
Yeah. But anyway, alongside Shiver, the foil to Shiver, we have Annika.
Yes.
Hmm.
She's such a great protagonist.
I do like her a lot.
She's the most fiery. I think that's the best
Yes.
word I could find to describe her of any of these Barbie characters so far. Barbie protagonists, that is.
The most distinct personality
Yeah.
that we've seen.
Oh, absolutely.
In a different way than just the same old that we had before.
Right.
Yeah. She's not afraid to speak her mind
Mm.
at all. She's even like sassy and sarcastic.
She's a bit of a rebel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I love that for her.
Yeah.
She is a babe.
Yeah,
She's violent.
Yes.
Yes. she was going
She
to
has bloodlust. She's
Yeah, it's so interesting to get this Barbie character who doesn't feel like the sanitized, pure, innocent, and she still is, you know, a very nice person with good intentions,
Mm-hmm.
but there's less of like
Yeah.
like of all the Barbie characters to be a role model, she's not necessarily the one you would point to, but at the same time she's like she's not afraid to speak her mind, and that's like a really important thing to learn. And she's like, she has no hesitation when Wedlock shows up and he's like, I'm gonna marry you, and she just says no. Absolutely
Yeah.
not.
I don't know. I think she could be a good role
Yeah,
model.
no.
She's also pretty smart against Ollie the Shrek Hulk.
Yeah.
The Shrek Hulk.
She is, and that's what I was meaning to say, is that, like, you know, you compare her to the other Barbies, and the other Barbie characters are kind and brave and clever, but Annika has the extra element of she isn't afraid to, like, be confident in herself.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes her maybe even a better role model than these other Barbies who, on the
Yes.
surface, maybe are more what you would expect from these Barbie movies, but
I mean, she's not afraid to stand up for herself
yeah.
or speak her mind or anything. I don't know. This Barbie is just the feminist agenda. Sorry.
Yeah.
We can cut that. I don't.
No, keep it in and double it.
Like, I don't know, she has some elements of, like, what a woman isn't supposed to be a bit weird. Speaking of rebellious, sassy, talking back to the man.
All she wants to do is skate with the peasants.
I know, right?
Yep.
The
That's
dirty,
gosh.
dirty peasants.
that's one
Man.
of the quotes I wrote down is her telling her parents, "You don't understand anything. You're ruining my life," which is a very like teenager thing to say
Oh,
to
it
your
is.
parents.
How old is
Absolutely.
she?
But
She's either like 16 or 17. It's
yeah,
not clear.
Okay, so Wenlock, if that's the case, Wenlock is into. Okay.
yeah. When Locke is not young.
No.
No. Interesting. So she has a sister named Brietta.
Yeah, Brietta is maybe a little less distinct of a character here. She's kind and caring.
Yeah.
She has a good dynamic with Annika, which is kind of the most important thing here.
Hmm.
I like her backstory as well. I like that we get she also wasn't afraid to say no to Wenlock, but it turned out very differently for her, unfortunately. And then kind of that she couldn't stand to see her parents sad, so she just like left.
That was so sad.
Yeah. And then she's found this home in the clouds, but she's constantly like she has this crown that reminds her, and she even says like if it weren't for this crown I might forget my past, but she doesn't want to forget because that's what keeps her going. That's her goal
Yeah.
in life, even if she's lost a bit of hope.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the crown they use for like the ring of love, right? Don't they
Yeah.
use that one? She sacrifices it. Yeah.
Yeah. That's another element that they bring back, which is so
Yeah,
brilliant.
I know. I love how they use all the different elements.
Yeah.
Like you're clearly expecting it's like, oh, okay, love interest, she's gonna make a ring. But in the
Mhm.
back of my mind, I'm like, oh, it would be like so cool if it was a family love. And then it was. It was like, oh, it's so good.
Yeah. Well, that even the measure of hope, like there's just like slightly different topic, but the whole riddle of the wand of light is just very good.
Yeah.
It's a very fairy tale-esque thing, but also I don't know, I just thought it was very clever how it was done.
Yeah, none of them are what you're expecting at first.
Right.
Yeah.
I
It's
mean,
like
I've seen
Into
the
the
movie
Woods.
many times.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's such a good take on that. And even that it's like it's adapting these stories. When she gets the measure of courage, the whole scene with Ollie the Giant is very reminiscent of the Odyssey, where you have Odysseus and the Cyclops, and Odysseus outsmarts the Cyclops.
Mhm.
And then you have this, but it's distinct enough as well. And it's
Yeah.
also just such a clever reference. And then obviously with the crystal, it's Aladdin, this cave where there's a ton of treasure, but you can't take anything. In this case, it's you can't take anything with the intention of greed, and how that kind of that leads into learning more about Aiden as well.
Yeah, I liked that twist with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he's the edgy bad boy, as we've said, but they do a really good job of bringing his backstory into it in a very natural way.
Mm-hmm.
Because from the first moment, this is the Ken character. This is who Annika is going to end up with at the end of the movie.
He's the most
Obviously.
mysterious Ken character, like to
Yeah.
begin with. And it's like, oh, interesting. He wants nothing to do with her.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's very different than a lot of the like prince figures, because I
Yeah.
feel like just like you guys are talking about with like Barbie doesn't fall in love right away.
Yeah.
Well, he doesn't either.
Yeah, they have
both have that slow.
yeah. There's a bit of conflict between them that
Mhm.
makes their relationship so much more interesting.
Oh, it's much
He-
more fun.
He's a good foil for Annika.
Yeah.
He can go toe to toe with her sass, but then he knows more about the outside world, and is like just their dynamic and how neither of them is willing to back down, and that kind of turns into this mutual respect that then turns into love. It's such an interesting thing that
Yeah.
works so well the way it's told.
It's such a good shift.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That is interesting, though. I didn't think of them as foils, but definitely, especially with his world experience when she was just been locked up, basically.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge difference, even though they have like very similar personality. And that's interesting. I missed that. But...
Yeah, and I think my favorite moment with him and it wasn't a moment I realized until someone else pointed it out to me, is when he gives his crystal to Annika at the end.
Mm.
When Annika has dropped the crystal off the side of the cliff, and then he comes up and is like, "Here, take mine." And he doesn't say, "Here, take mine," which is how I missed it. I thought, wait, how did he catch it while it was falling? But no, he has his own crystal and he gives it to her without hesitation.
It would be impossible if he caught it, because he was on the other side of the cliff.
Yeah, which I wasn't thinking of that in the moment, but then someone pointed it out to me, and it's like, oh yeah, that's such a good character moment for him.
They could have pointed it out more with just like a small line by Annika saying,
Yeah.
This, what about your father? It's like, I'll find another way.
Yeah, just such a great moment for his character. And I even respect that the movie doesn't feel the need to point it out. That it's like, if you're paying attention, you'll catch it. If you aren't, then hopefully someone else is paying attention to tell you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like how the movie doesn't over-explain stuff. Like, you get the nice exposition, especially with, like, the Wand of Light instructions, but, like, the movie doesn't coddle you. Exactly. Yeah. I do appreciate that. Which might be sort of why it feels more grown up a little. I don't know.
Yeah, it's not worried that you're gonna lose track of where it's going or what it's doing.
Speaking of villains, we have Wenlock, who just loves the wedlock. Haha.
Yeah.
I wondered if that was like intentional. I'm sure it was.
Oh yeah. It's such a good name, and he's such a good villain. He's just a scumbag, through and through.
Yeah.
He has so many lines that it's like, no, I'm not gonna chase her. Women chase me.
Which is so funny when you like try to kidnap your bride.
Yeah.
And like, I'm gonna turn your family to stone, or else if you don't marry me, like, yes, she's definitely crawling to you.
Yeah, he feels like the type of character who, if he were around today, would be writing books about how negging women makes them like you more.
Oh my god.
Like,
he would.
He would have his career as a pickup artist.
Oh my god. Yeah, it's like, they're too naggy.
Yeah.
Yeah, his pickup artist book, how to get magic powers to threaten your beloved.
Yes.
Into marrying you.
And the thing is, he doesn't realize that he's the problem at any point.
Why would he?
Like, he's just so self-confident and absolutely lacks any self-awareness. And it makes him so much fun to hate. Because you don't feel bad about, like, he doesn't have a tragic backstory or anything. He's just like a creepy dude who got a magic staff and is now being creepy.
And I don't know. He has some cool vibes, though.
He doesn't have that sinister goal. He's just like, I want a woman.
Yeah,
he's not out
fourth
to rule
woman.
The world. Yeah, he's not out to rule the world or just have any grand motivations. He's just simple.
I just want to build my harem.
Yeah, he's a big threat because he's magical.
Yeah,
magic.
He's magic, and he's not afraid to use it for some pretty dark things. Like when he turns the jeweler into a doormat, the way the scene is shot and the way his character has been set up, you totally buy that he would kill this random jeweler. And he doesn't, but it's still just like... It's such a great character to have as your villain when they feel like an actual threat.
Sure.
How did he get those magical powers?
I don't believe that's explained, actually.
I think they say something about how... Because it's all the staff that he has.
Yeah.
I don't remember if they explained how he got it, but it's implied he didn't get it through honest means.
I mean, sure, that makes sense, but... Yeah, I didn't think we ever really got a clear answer on exactly...
How old is he? How long has he lived?
Very.
I don't know.
When he reverts back, when the spell on him breaks, he doesn't look very young.
No, he doesn't.
He could be in his 50s or even older.
I would guess probably like 50s. Maybe.
Which, I mean, at the time which this story is sort of nebulously set, that would often be the case for young women, as they would be married off to older men, and so having that element in here, it isn't out of place, but it enhances just how creepy this whole thing is.
Yeah, sure it does.
He's been catfishing everyone with his magic staff,
Catfish.
making them think he looks very different than he actually does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And he also just has so many great cheesy one-liners.
He does. He has such good energy. Like, don't get me wrong, he sucks. But he has some great lines.
Yeah.
Great energy. I don't know. This man's not straight. Or at least not completely straight. He just has some energies.
Yeah.
I love it.
And he's just so much fun to watch when he's on
absolutely,
screen.
Yeah.
That it's like, yeah.
I just also like his look and aesthetic. Like,
Yeah.
it's great villain design.
Yeah, they've been doing really well with making each antagonist look unique.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And each antagonist feeling a little bit different. I mean, Wenlock has some similarities to Preminger.
He does.
Yeah.
But at the same time, he's...
Where they're both not straight.
Yeah.
Especially in the voice, which...
Yeah. But at the same time, they're very distinct, and Wenlock is much more ominous, where Preminger is more flamboyant.
Absolutely. You cannot beat Preminger. He's top tier.
On to some of the smaller villains in the movie. Well, maybe not smaller, because first up we have Ollie the Giant.
Yes, the Shrek Hulk.
Yes.
I love him. Let him have lunch.
Mm-hmm.
He has such a great single scene, and it's honestly my favorite. The way the 3D in the movie works is it's 15 minutes, but it's kind of interspersed throughout. So most of the big set pieces are in 3D, and Ollie's scene is the best one, where you have these vegetables flying at the screen, and
the door, the log. And I do remember all that. As I'm watching it, I can remember in my mind watching them with my little 3D glasses that came with DVD. And remembering just those turnips coming right at me, be like, whoa.
Is that when that happened?
Yep, when he's throwing the vegetables into the pot, and then when he kicks the door in, and all the wood pieces go flying.
That makes sense.
It's not this scene, but there's a later scene with some rocks falling.
Yep, when they're in the magic cave.
Yeah, is that where that is?
But yeah, Ollie just has... It might be honestly my best scene, or my favorite scene in the whole movie.
Oh, it's so good.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's drawing from this from the Odyssey. It's adapting this into a Barbie movie where, she's making up this story about the giant down the road. Oh, he can do this, he can do that. And as an audience member, I know, okay, she's building towards something. But it's so much fun to see how clever she is in what she tells him to break the door off the hinges.
Yeah.
So that she can run out the door. and she knows she needs to do that in order to escape.
Yeah.
It's just, he gets such a great scene, and his character works so well for that one scene. And then you don't see him again, and it's fine.
But he's such a highlight.
I really wish he had a redemption arc.
He didn't need one.
But
He just wanted lunch. He deserved better. He just got caught in the middle of a little mess.
He should learn not to eat alive things.
I don't know if he does
Kill it
normally,
first.
though. He was throwing a bunch of vegetables and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm not sure if
They're
he
not
eats much
lobsters. You can kill them before you cook them.
It might have been cool to see him come back in the end, but I also think
He does in the bloopers.
Yes, he is in the bloopers.
I love that.
He gets 2 moments in the bloopers.
He does, and they're amazing.
Yeah, the next antagonist corresponds with the next item of the quest, and that's Ferris, who's the jewel merchant. And I just love this type of character, the untrustworthy merchant who's out for an extra dime and will do whatever he can to make a little bit more. just the way he makes them pay for the information. It's so
Classic.
much fun when he shows up to have that energy in the movie.
He's a doormat.
Yeah,
He is a
he
doormat.
turns into a doormat. And you don't see what happens to him after the spell breaks, if he's still
No,
a
you don't.
doormat or not.
I mean, we know.
That's
but
true.
We
see
know.
that.
Yeah.
We know, but still.
But that's interesting, how the movie doesn't show us that when
Yeah.
it shows everything else.
Because they forgot.
Maybe, I don't know. Or maybe he's just evil, so who cares?
Or
I
it's
don't
just
know.
like, we spent so much of our budget on skating.
Yeah.
Who needs this Ferris guy?
He is a very minor character
He
Yeah.
should have been turned into a wheel.
into a wheel. Interesting.
Ferris wheel.
Oh my
Ferris
god.
wheel.
Wow. Excuse me. Okay.
So yeah, those are the characters I wanted to highlight. Does anyone else have any other characters that stood out to them?
Yeah, the queen of the clouds.
She's
She
very
exists.
Yeah.
pretty and very pretty.
That's all, folks.
I had a doll of her.
Oh.
I did. There was a Barbie doll of her.
Yeah, I actually, the DVD I got of this came with a booklet of the merchandise, so I was looking through it. I do remember seeing the Cloud Queen.
Yeah. Was there one of the little Kellys too? Were there little
Oh,
dolls?
there,
of them?
Yeah.
there would have been.
Okay, because I almost feel like I may have had a couple of those.
Especially with the small horses. Yeah, they
Yeah.
had them.
That's gotta be.
That's toyetic.
Yes.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, just the same as before. The main characters that we typically see in these films are just done differently, and it's just so refreshing to see.
Yeah.
It's great.
I gave these characters a 5 out of 5 for pretty much that reason. I think.
I give it a 3.5. Yes, Anaga and Aiden are great, but Shiver,
Mm-hmm.
that Shiver though, that's the downfall. Also, there could have been more done with Brietta and the Cloud people
Sure, yeah.
and the actual king and queen.
That's true.
But besides that, our main characters are just great.
Yeah.
I gave it a 4. Same as you, mostly just Shiver. Shiver's existence was like, I'm sorry, it as amazing as the characters are, I cannot give a full 5 out of 5
Mm-hmm.
when we got little Miss Sparkle Sparkle over there. I can't. I had to deduct for that.
I thought Shiver was fine, but I'm fine being in the minority on that.
I mean, she's fine. She still just gets on my nerves, though.
Yeah.
She's still annoying, even though she's
She
not
has
that bad.
no arc whatsoever.
Oh no, she's for the kids.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. For the plush specifically.
Yes, well, also that.
At least the cats from Princes and the Paupers did something. Shiver
Oh yeah,
just
they're fun.
was causing all the problems.
Yes, which is why she was a plot device. She was causing the problems.
Mm-hmm.
Next up, we have animation. Watching this, I just thought it was such a major improvement. A bigger step forward than anything except for maybe Rapunzel. But it looks so much better than Rapunzel. The facial animation this time around, I don't know if they were avoiding more extreme expressions or if they just improved the quality overall, but I didn't really get any uncanny valley for the main characters. For some of the side characters, there's still a little bit there, but they've started to stylize these characters enough that you don't get the same issues. I think Annika, Brietta, Aiden, and Wenlock all look really good in this movie.
Yeah, I'd say that they're pretty solid. I feel like for me, like maybe this is like a small thing, but I think there was some struggle a little bit with some of like the background characters, like the
yeah.
ice skaters. I swear I saw the same face like at least like 5 to 10 times.
Yeah.
Like they know how to draw out one man.
There was
Basically.
they had, I think it was the same model as they used for Nalu in Fairytopia.
Yep.
And then they had like a slightly differently shaded
Yep.
version of that same model.
Yeah, it's just different color schemes of Nalu, exactly.
Yeah.
I wasn't gonna mention it since you hadn't gotten to your Mermaidia, but
He has a brief appearance in Fairytopia.
oh, I did
so.
not think he was in that one. Okay.
Yep.
But yes, that's exactly what I think every single time. It's like it's just Nalu. They know how to draw Nalu, and he is a handsome boy, so can't fault them for that, but
Yeah.
it's I don't know.
The one that stood out to me most was the king.
Oh.
Something about he has like very large eyes and then his teeth are a little bit disturbing.
Yeah, they're like too white or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, he's a little funny looking.
Especially another thing to remark about the king and queen, how there's not a different model for the large year gap in between the flashback and the current time.
Mm-hmm.
Which I understand, like, that's a whole lot of work just to create a new model, but details,
Yeah.
Absolutely.
nitpicky. This is perfection that we need to strive for, you know?
Yes. These are Barbie movies.
It's
Well,
it's 6, 7-year-old girls. They need that perfection.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, it's my same as my complaint about Brietta. And like, how old is Brietta? Why does she look the same? It's yeah, like the same thing as with the parents. It's like, what is aging?
Yeah.
I mean, her horse animation was good.
I mean, I don't know. I guess that family just has good genes. Everyone looks young.
Yeah. Maybe that's it. But you could even see how they could even just like changing the hair color of the king and queen could help sell the time difference.
So, a note about Brietta.
Yes.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that she's the same character model as an Annika, but with different hair and coloring, skin tone.
Yeah.
That's very possible. Yeah.
Yeah, I was getting some Princess and the Pauper vibes from them
Yep.
standing next to each other.
Yeah. No, I feel like they do that a lot with the leading ladies in Barbie movies, where they use a very similar model to
Yeah.
Barbie. I think. I could be wrong, because I don't have a clear memory of all of these, necessarily.
Mm-hmm.
But,
Yeah, thus far that's been the case where if they have two female leads, they're both very similar models.
Yeah.
And I think part of that is for the dolls as well.
could be.
You can, and that might honestly be why Brietta doesn't age in between.
Is for the dolls.
It's for the dolls.
Mm.
She was
but-
also a Pegasus, so maybe that has something to do
Yeah,
with it.
I mean they do say Pegasus hair is good for the wrinkles, so
Mm-hmm.
They do? What?
no, they don't.
Where did you hear this from?
No, it's griffin feathers. That's what's
Oh.
good.
Of course.
Sure, yeah.
I'll just have to go to my local apothecary for
Yeah.
some griffin feathers.
Yeah, the creature animation in this is also really good.
Mm-hmm.
Since the creatures are so important, you want that, but yeah, I think Brietta especially moves the way you would expect her to move.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And that can be difficult to animate because I don't know, I didn't see any horse motion capture in the credits. And that
Right,
doesn't
but-
mean that they're
There's a lot of subtlety at work with Brietta, with just like her facial movements, even just the way her ears move like a horse.
yeah.
They're so special. I love that animation style. Yes.
And the background animation too is so good.
Oh, that was my
Yes,
favorite.
yes.
all of the sunsets and the sunrises are incredible.
Yes.
There are stills from this movie where you could post them on like a cinematography website or something. It'd be like, look at these stunning stills, and then people are like, what's that from? Barbie,
Oh yeah,
because it just looks so good. And I love snowy landscapes.
the snow animation was always fun though too. Like I did
Yeah.
like that. Like and like that's like the opening shot is the snow falling on the castle
Yeah,
with the Pegasus flag or something
Mm.
something. Like it's just so pretty.
yeah, and the locations are all really gorgeous.
Yes.
The Cloud Castle is probably my favorite, where it's all of this like glass and it's very tall and big, and you get a sense of scale. It feels like something you would find in the air.
No, it was really pretty. Even the castle interior was very good.
Yeah,
I don't know, it just didn't feel like a generic castle setting exactly. I feel
yeah,
like it had enough of its own character. I don't know. I wanted to run around the castle.
yeah. And Wenlock's Fortress and the Forbidden Forest are also pretty cool. They aren't my favorite spooky locations in the
Yeah,
series, but
too icy.
yeah, they're maybe a little bit, especially the Forbidden Forest is a bit barren, but these
Hmm.
are they do their job as settings, and I think
Yeah.
especially Wenlock's Fortress has a lot of cool elements. How it's very rocky and
I mean, I
Hmm.
don't know. I feel like the Forbidden Forest is alright. I do like how large everything is, like the big
yeah,
trees. Whereas, like, sure, I guess it's somewhat barren, but it is very foreboding and towering, and
yeah.
I don't know, like the tree slide, like,
That's
eh,
a fun sequence in
it
3D.
is, yeah. Like, I don't know. I feel like it's a good forest.
Yeah, I'm just thinking of the other spooky forest that we've seen so far in these Barbie movies, and
Mm.
I was maybe a little bit let down by this one, but it didn't take me out of the movie or anything.
And that's probably fair. I don't remember clearly all of the forests. I
Yeah,
feel like
and,
I remember some like every once in a while there'd be some weird movements with like feet on grounds where it looked like people weren't walking on the ground, or I don't know.
okay.
Well, speaking about that,
Oh.
so there's a moment in this film where the characters are walking at the edge of a cliff,
Mm-hmm.
holding on to the rock wall while they can barely keep one foot on, and
Oh
they're
yeah, that very narrow
like
path.
yeah, the very narrow
Yeah.
path, and they're just shimmying across. Then here comes Brietta just walking casually,
Yeah.
and they don't look at her feet. She's just walking normally. They know that doesn't work, but
Why
they're like,
doesn't she just fly?
it's windy.
I know. I guess. No, we needed the cute scene where Annika almost falls to her death
Well, that scene I
because
has
romance.
3D rocks falling into your
Yeah, that's right.
face.
That's that scene.
I must be very blind because I didn't notice any 3D. It's also, I guess it's also they're hiding it well. Unlike Spy
Yeah.
Kids
Yeah.
3D, which is very clearly 3D.
Yeah, did I'm curious because there is the big moment where they like twist physics for the 3D is when Ollie is sticking his head into the pot
Hmm.
Oh.
and his neck extends in a weird way, but I don't know if you notice it when it's not in 3D. Yeah,
Uh,
in 3D it was like, oh, his head's moving in an odd way, but that might have just been the depth making things look
yeah.
different.
So did you watch it in 3D this time that you just watched
Yes,
it?
yes, I
Okay.
watched it in 3D.
Okay.
Everyone else watched it in 2D,
All right.
and actually now is probably a decent time to talk about the 3D. It was better than I expected.
Yeah, it's
Um,
pretty good.
it's spread out pretty evenly. There's some really good moments throughout. Ollie the Giant has the best scene, but there's also flying into the castle in the clouds. That's nice. And they do a good job of choosing the right scenes. There is the one weird scene which is the way it's set up on the screen. An indicator shows up to tell you to put your glasses on,
Hmm.
and then at the end it shows up again to tell you to take your glasses off. So they structure it very specifically so that the scene where the indicator pops up, it's not a scene you're going to miss anything visually while you're putting your glasses on or taking them off. And then the scene plays out, and it's usually a big set piece with very little dialogue. And then you take your glasses off, and then the movie starts back on the plot again. And there's one scene like that that isn't in 3D,
Hmm.
and it's the ice skating scene at Wenlock's Fortress. So it seems like, because 3D animation is expensive, and obviously that's why the whole movie isn't in 3D. So I do think they might have run out of either the time or the resources for that specific scene. But besides that, it was great. The coloring is obviously a bit off, but that's just a problem with 3D in general and not with the movie.
I mean, I think it was very good for the time.
Yeah,
I wish I could watch it in 3D again to actually see how it holds up, since it
yeah,
has been so long. But, I mean, that's good to hear that you liked it
yeah.
overall.
I am curious. John, you mentioned that you didn't really notice any obvious 3D moments, so
Mm. I mean, now that you are mentioning these things, I'm thinking like, oh, okay, that makes sense that it would be put there.
Mm-hmm.
But typically when I think of 3D, usually the center of the screen, the object is there for a couple seconds before it moves on.
yeah.
To be very obvious. So this was more subtle, which was good.
There's nothing that like pops out at you that stays there. And I can think of exactly what you're saying. I think Oz the Great and Powerful, which I rewatched recently, not in 3D, but that has a lot of moments where, since it was designed from the ground up for 3D, there's a lot of moments where you're like, okay, that shot was in 3D and the thing popped out at you. So it's interesting
Mm.
to hear that there wasn't that much obvious 3D in this movie because watching it with 3D, it's like, oh, there's stuff flying at your face, and yeah,
I mean, watching it in 2D, I can see where if you're not familiar with the movie, you wouldn't notice that.
Right.
I mean, I feel like maybe the rocks falling off a cliff, that one would probably be one of the more obvious, oh, this was a 3D scene, but
yeah.
otherwise, yeah, I think you could go without having any idea this was made to be in 3D.
And then just some other general notes about the animation. There's some really great shot compositions here. My favorite is it's a scene in the near the end of the movie. Annika and Shiver are in the middle distance. This is after the staff has been broken, and the sun's setting behind them, and the green rocks are all around them. And then, right close up to the camera, you see this hand shoot up, and it's Aiden. And it was just such a perfectly composed shot. You have these elements that are, being highlighted at different points. It was just really cool. And there's some really good camera movement. I just had so much fun noticing, oh, they're like, the way they zoom in here really adds to the sense of momentum of this scene. It's always fun when these animated movies sort of add that cinematic flair. And there is another aerial combat scene in this movie. We've talked about how it showed up in Swan Lake, and then there was
Mm.
another one in Fairytopia, and now, as John predicted, there's an aerial combat scene in this movie.
Because there's
Interesting.
a Pegasus in the
Yes.
title.
Of course, you
Yeah.
got wings, gotta.
Mm-hmm.
I just thought that's an interesting thing that keeps coming up in these Barbie movies.
I mean, flying's cool.
Yeah.
It's easier to animate than running.
Yeah.
Yep.
The only thing cooler than fights is flying while fighting. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Overall, I gave it a 4.5 out of 5
Mm.
for the animation. I just think it's such a leap forward.
Right. Yeah. I gave it a 4. It's still good, but it could still be improved. There's just like some minor moments, like the character designs of the king and queen, the horse walking on air. Another thing that I noted, which is less to do with animation, but probably something I didn't really think about, is that Aiden forges the staff using a campfire. And
Yes,
if you
he
know
does.
anything about forging, especially metals, you need a lot more than a campfire.
Yeah.
But again, like the kids aren't expected to want realistic forging techniques in a Barbie film, so you can pass that by. So 4 is still a good score.
It is still a good score. I gave the animation a 5, and I only did that in consideration of this is a Barbie movie because there are some little odd things, but it's still very good. And this movie came out in 2000.
2005.
Like for 2005 animation, I think it's pretty good. So
Yeah.
I just went ahead and gave it a 5.
Yeah, good scores on animation all around. So yeah, next up we have voice acting.
Oh yeah.
Kelly Sheridan, once again, she's playing the main character, and the writing this time gives her so much to work with.
Yeah.
And I think she just does such a good job with this performance. She makes Annika a distinct character from all of these other Barbie characters she's been playing.
Yeah.
And it's great to see, she's been doing these Barbie movies very faithfully. So they're finally giving her an interesting character again.
Yeah. Also interesting and distinct from other characters, like her performances in Princess and the Pauper, where she had 2 different characters. This is another distinct character where she's sassier and can show it very well.
Yeah, and she's good with the sarcasm.
Did she voice both girls in Princess and the Pauper?
Yes.
Yes.
Oh
she
wow,
did.
I did not know that.
She plays Barbie in all of these Barbie movies, I think, until 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. See that? I mean, that's actually a lot later than I expected, but I thought that the first at least, I don't know, big chunk of the Barbie saga, if you
For
will,
sure.
is the same voice actor.
Barbie cinematic universe.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, and speaking of returning actors, we have Mark Hildreth as Ken. Once again, he's been in quite a few of these. And again, he gets more to do here, and he really shines with it.
Yeah.
He sells both sides of his character so well, both the edgy bad boy and the sort of this son who's too ashamed to go home.
Mm-hmm.
You get a sense for he's using this sort of edgy side as this cover for who he really is.
Yeah.
I believe he's only in one more movie as Ken.
Who was he in the other ones? Or
Ken.
do you remember?
He's always the love interest.
But has he been in a lot of the other ones so far?
He's been in all of them except for Nutcracker and Fairytopia. He's played the main love interest. In Princess and the Pauper, he only plays King Dominic. But
well, we don't care about the other king. I don't know.
well, the other romantic interest in that one is Julian, who's played by Alessandro Giuliani, who also plays Prince Nalu. So they're kind of they're sharing duties as the romantic lead now.
I guess I've never noticed that they all tend to have similar voices.
Yeah.
But I was also like 7 or 8 when I watched these
They
all
have
the time.
a returning cast of people.
They do. But we have Ollie the Giant, who is John DeSantis.
Yes.
I love Ollie.
And interesting to note that John DeSantis is an actor who's mainly known for his live action work, because in real life he is 6'9". So he is an actual giant, and they hired him to play this character, and it's such a fun little casting choice.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know if there's any vocal thing you could recognize that only he could do. But
I mean, he could probably play a Hulk.
It's just, he does such a good job with this character. Doing, like, it's just a great role, and that they actually hired someone who could potentially play this character in live action. Like, that's cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Live action, I believe, is the most noticeable thing I know him from is a series of unfortunate events.
Yep, where he plays one of Count Olaf's hench people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I also wanted to briefly highlight Colin Murdoch. He's been in one of these Barbie movies. He had a very small role in Princess and the Pauper. He was like the royal announcer or something. But this is his first big role in a Barbie movie, and he's playing the villain. Yeah. And he does such a great job bringing.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, I almost thought it was Martin Short, but
yeah, he does a very similar performance to Martin Short as Preminger. But
I was gonna say, didn't he do Preminger?
Yeah,
amazing.
But it's distinct enough that it's like you can tell this is a different voice actor who's bringing his own interpretation to this character. And yeah, it's great to see him sort of level up and get a bigger role in these movies.
Who's Brietta?
Brietta is played by
Lalania Lindbergh or something.
yeah. This is her first Barbie movie, but she's previously been known as a TV actor and voice actor, and this isn't her only Barbie movie that she's in.
Oh.
Yes.
So
the voice of Bulma in some Dragon Ball.
okay.
Yeah. Shiver in this one is portrayed by Kathleen Barr,
Yes.
who was the villain of the last film.
Yes.
Oh.
So, I'm sorry, Kathleen.
Yeah.
Oh, I guess Kathleen was also the Cloud Queen?
She was the regular queen.
She's a lot of things.
Okay.
Oh, and the Cloud Queen. Okay, yeah. So she has multiple roles in this.
Okay.
Yeah, she's been one of
Oh,
the
and the Queen. She's both the queens.
yeah. She's been around for a lot of these Barbie movies as well. So you can kind of see they've built up this stable of voice actors who they can bring back and even bring back to do similar roles.
From Canada.
Yes, a lot of Canadian actors here. I also wanted to highlight Brian Drummond, who plays Ferris, who just gives such a great performance. Very memorable voice. He only gets a few moments, but like John DeSantis as Ollie the Giant makes a big impression.
And so does Ferris.
Yeah, he's also been around in these movies as well. So, I believe, just like a side note, Cloud Princess Lilac is performed by Andrea Libman. I don't know if this is her first Barbie film, but she is mainly known for her voice in My Little Pony later on. So that's just something I point out because I want to.
Yeah, there are a lot of My Little Pony alumni in here.
Honestly, that doesn't surprise me.
Yeah.
With it being Barbie and the type of voices.
I'm pretty sure it's the same vocal studio that they use.
Okay.
Because all of these actors appear at one point or another.
Yeah. So yeah, overall I gave the voice acting a 4.5 out of 5. I think Kelly Sheridan gets to do so much. Mark Hildreth gets to do so much. And then you have all of these great supporting performances that really bring it to its full potential.
Give it a 4, because 4 is still a good score.
I gave it a 3.5. It's one of those things where I'm not the best at rating, but I just feel like there was some weird line delivery, especially between Annika whenever talking to Wenlock. Sure. Like, I don't know. I feel like that, I don't think so, Wenlock. Like, I don't know. There's just some little heavy-handed, or even when she was just be like, well, let's go do this or whatever, and it's just like, chill, Annika. Or, I don't know. It's just
maybe a bit unnatural.
Yeah, it's just like a little clunky or just too forced, or I don't know what it is. There's just every once in a while, it's just not completely natural.
Okay.
And yeah, last up we have music. Incredible score. The great use of classic music. It's great to have Arnie Roth back doing the soundtrack. Fairytopia had much less memorable music, but now we have this great music here. I think my favorite moment, they used the bells from Carol of the Bells. Like, not specifically those bells, but the same type of bell.
Oh, okay.
For like the beginning of the third act, and it just adds this like sense of anticipation that I love.
So, with the music, they have the song In the Hall of the Mountain King to be the theme of Wenlock.
Okay.
And
for
most of the film, it's just the beginning part of the film, like dun, 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 dun. And they don't really go past that part much. It's just the same repetition of that first note. I was really hoping by the like big climactic ending that they'd finally play the rest of the song in this giant magical battle piece.
Sure.
But they didn't, and I just felt empty that they didn't finish the song.
No,
Yeah.
that is a missed opportunity.
Yeah, and I completely missed that.
Yeah.
They didn't have that payoff that you would expect.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I thought the music was great, especially just with the whole intro of it all, where
Mm.
we start the story with Annika ice skating while, I don't know, maybe it's Beethoven playing. It looked like there was a few
It is.
Beethoven songs credited in this. It's just such a beautiful way to open it. That with just the ice skating scenes themselves are always just beautiful.
Oh yeah, and we should mention here, since I forgot to during the animation, the ice skating scenes are actually done through motion capture.
Oh, they are?
So like the ballet sequences in Nutcracker and Swan Lake, they're actually using motion capture for those performances, which is why they look so good. I think that they're sort of based in reality, even though this is a very fantastical story, and that the music is great.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you know if they did that with 12 Dancing Princesses then too?
We'll find out.
As we've gone along, there's sort of less and less information on the production of each movie,
Wow.
but I've actually been watching through the credits specifically to see if they use motion capture, and so far every movie has used it.
Wow.
And then some use it for specific things, like here they used it specifically for the ice skating sequences.
I mean, they're gorgeous,
Yeah,
especially with the music. It's perfect. I love
yeah.
this movie.
I will say the one thing I didn't love about the music is the final song. Now, this final song is a bit significant. It's called Hope Has Wings, and it is sung by Academy Award-winning actress Brie Larson.
It is?
Yes, this is,
Oh,
I
it's
believe,
Captain Marvel.
yeah, 10 years before she won her Oscar, and maybe 12 years before she was hired to play Captain Marvel, she did a song for a Barbie movie,
Nice.
and it's a good enough song, but again, like all of these final credit songs, it's too modern, or not even modern, it's too early 2000s, and this whole movie has been this sort of fantasy epic story, and then it ends with this song that you can tell came out in 2005,
Mm,
and it just takes me out of it for a little bit and maybe lessens my excitement as the credits are
yeah,
playing.
I can see that, especially with using so much classical music to suddenly use something more modern. I can see where that would be a more jarring thing.
Yep.
I don't think I caught that, honestly, but no, I can see where that may be an odd choice,
Yeah.
especially for a finale or final.
Now I am curious. We briefly talked about the bloopers, but since we're talking about the credits, John, what did you think of the bloopers? You didn't say much when we mentioned them before.
So, you know my opinion of bloopers.
I don't.
Yeah, so with bloopers, I'm not a fan of bloopers when they're scripted.
Oh.
I do prefer if the bloopers were more natural. Although the Ollie moments did get a chuckle. But I don't like fake bloopers.
I mean, it's a Barbie movie. They can't have real bloopers.
I know. It's also just
Yeah.
a huge trend at this time to do this type of thing.
Oh, was it? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. I mean, also, I was like 8 when I watched this movie a lot, and I was honestly didn't catch the joke that they're fake bloopers
Mm.
Yeah.
because I was like around 8.
Well, I thought the bloopers were effective, and I'm not.
Oh, I
late.
love the bloopers.
Yeah, they're just like a little fun moment to
Yeah.
show that the people making this movie are having a little bit of fun behind the scenes.
Yeah.
I love the Ollie bloopers are the best. I love
The
when
Ollie bloopers are
when
great.
Shiver knocks the camera over, and you think about how much animation time that took up.
Sure.
Where it's like, okay, well now we have to like animate the roof of this building, which maybe they already have the set made, but still, just so much fun. And the Aiden wearing a fake nose. I love the build up to that where you're like, okay, like I guess his line delivery is a little funny, and then he turns around and you're like, oh, that's why she can't stop laughing.
And I feel like that one really sticks in my memory that like I remember that specific blooper. I completely forgot about Ollie's though, but like the theater joke, I thought that was hilarious. I don't
Yeah.
know. And it's just like amazing. I love this idea.
Another note about this set of bloopers is that in Princess and the Pauper, the bloopers played with the credits,
Oh?
Yeah.
while this one just played before the credits,
Hmm.
which can be a little jarring because you just finished this film and
Yeah.
it just looks like it's continuing the film, but it's bloopers.
Oh.
Yeah, you're
But
like,
of course,
oh,
they,
after
of course, they
credits?
had to do the song with Brie Larson, so
Yep,
you
yep.
know, just can't both.
So would you think it'd be like better to put it like after the credits or during the credits? Did you like it during the credits?
During the credits, lets the credits go by
Sure.
because kids are not going to sit through credits.
Right, absolutely not. That's true. If you put it
You-
after the credits, no one would
Yeah.
watch it.
Yeah.
Even if Brie Larson is singing over the credits, they aren't gonna.
They'll be like, who's Brie Larson?
Which at the time, Brie Larson wasn't all that well known, which is why she's doing an ending song for a Barbie movie.
Right. Yeah, it's not like she been in Scott Pilgrim yet or anything.
But yeah, again with the music, I gave it a 4 out of 5. If it were just the music in the movie, I would have given it a higher score. But that ending song, even though the song isn't bad, just the disconnect brings it down a little bit for me. So 4 out of 5 for me.
Yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5 because I was disappointed that In the Hall of Mountain King never got fulfilled.
I gave it a 5, pretty much based off of all the ice skating scenes, but I think I do agree in retrospect about the last song being a very odd choice. I don't know if I would like change my score or not, but like
Yeah.
I don't typically watch the credit music, so I don't really care.
Yeah.
I was still like very surprised at just how much my expectations were subverted. Yes, that word. Because like the entire time I'm still thinking of, okay, we've gone through 5 films. There's like a trend, a simple blueprint about how these character tropes go. And just having all of that just not be the case was just a breath of fresh air. It's like,
Yeah.
like I'm expecting that ring to be an actual ring, but it turns out no, it's the crown. I'm expecting the romance to happen immediately, but no, it's done far later in the film, and even then it's more subtle. The Barbie character is more sassier. She's not as everyman as she typically is. So there's just the whole lot, and it's just I was really surprised to see that this film was different, and I was happy for it. Oh, yes, another small note about the animation, which is, it doesn't really matter. But in the end, where Aiden talks to his father and they hug,
Yeah.
I just had a little weird moment because the character model for the father just looks like a professor of mine. And so I just couldn't help but see that professor in that scene.
how could you, Barbie movie from 2005? Great movie, great plot. I feel like everything was very well thought out, structured. Some good themes that keep coming back. Yeah, like just a big theme of second chances all throughout. And I just like how that kept coming back and could kind of be applied to lots of different scenarios in the movie.
Yeah.
Or like almost everyone had some sort of like second chance element, kind of, maybe
Yeah.
a little bit.
Yeah, that's a good theme to point out. And in this movie, you don't have it ending with Barbie pointing out what the major theme is for you.
No.
So having that be a consistent theme and trusting the audience to get it, that's
No.
it shows that these Barbie movies are like, and specifically, I think the writing team, Alana Lesser and Cliff Ruby, they're trusting the audience to put the puzzle pieces together.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's just why it's so good.
Yeah.
Yeah. My total score came out to be 19 out of 25, which is 76% and a total 5-star rating of 3.8.
Yeah. Rachel and I have the same scores here. Our totals are
Hey.
22.5 out of 25, for a percentage of 90%, or a
Mm-hmm.
5-star rating of 4.5, which is incredibly high.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it deserves it. This movie's amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is probably my second favorite, with Popper being on top.
Okay, I was gonna ask, is it because Preminger or
I just really like that film.
all right.
Yeah. Princess and the
Valid.
Pauper stands up really well as
Yeah.
well.
Yeah.
I maybe on aesthetic levels, I might like this movie more, even though it has a lower score than I gave Princess and the Pauper. But yeah, on a very similar level, which is always exciting when Fairytopia was a bit of a letdown, so to have this movie come in and surprise us, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, our overall score is 21 out of 25, 85%, or a 4.3 out of 5 stars overall,
Mm-hmm.
which puts it just underneath Princess and the Pauper in our
Yeah.
official rankings. So, yeah, we're all in agreement here that this is a pretty incredible movie.
It
Yeah.
is. It's great. I forget how good it is.
Yeah, it's just so good, and I this one I might revisit, especially since I bought the 3D DVD. It's like I could see myself watching this again
Mhm.
in a few years or something.
I would like to rewatch it in 3D because it's been so long. And I'm pretty sure my 3D glasses are gone, like a long time ago. So,
Well, yeah, on that note, thanks everyone for joining us. You can follow us on social media. Our Instagram, since I plugged our Twitter in the last few episodes, our Instagram is Binging Barbie Podcast. There you can find all of our episodes and a link to everything else. We have a letterboxd where we keep track of the official rankings. Next week we have Barbie Mermaidia, so
ooh,
be sure to join
Mm.
us for that as we continue the story of Fairytopia.
yeah, that would be a
And
good
Uh-huh.
one.
yeah, thank you everyone for listening.